Okay, so I was victorious in getting the 3 spindles taken apart off my Simplicity 7790 mower deck. I have an ultrasonic parts washer arriving tomorrow. The first thing I'm going to use that on is a carburetor, so that I think I'm going to put a simple green solution in and have that in a Ziploc bag in water in there, so then I can take it out and then put these in the water with Cascade tablets based off a shootout I saw on YouTube that worked the best on steel. This is all steel. This will probably take up the whole volume of the 2.5 gallons, so might as well use the water for that. But first step is I have my modified Harbor Freight parts washer here heating up. I added a heating element to it. That's what this cord is. Heats it up to, you know, like hot tub temperature, not real hot. And I got to get the grease off these. Mainly, this was the one spindle that still had grease in it. All the others were dry. Got to get that grease off. That's why I haven't pulled the bearings off that one yet, because I'm going to get the grease off before I pull them off. And also there's residue from, I used liquid wrench to make things easier to take apart. I started with the center spindle, the double pulley, which is why this arbor is so tall, was really seized on there. I had it in my 50-ton press. Can't really see it from here, but yeah, I messed up the double pulley. Luckily, I put the part number in on Amazon. They had a replacement. It's $150, but you know, whatever. There were lessons learned. But anyway, I want to get all that liquid wrench residue off of there in the parts washer, although there will be parts washer residue on it after that. So then I'll I got some Berkable, what's it called, like B12 or whatever, chem, what's this stuff called? Yeah, B12 chem tool, just like the vitamin. Yeah, that makes things pretty dry. Don't need to use much. Then I plan on soaking what can fit in the small bath I have in a Pyrex bowl of I think it's called Rust Solve. That I've only just started using it. It's a miracle. You just soak the stuff and rust disappears. And a bunch of these have rust. With Simplicities, you can't look up the year by the serial number. I guess they didn't keep track of it or never published serial numbers by year, but the 7790 ran from, I think, 78 to 86. This has to be at the older end of that spectrum, because the bottom housings of the spindles on most years had a Zerk fitting, because you're supposed to fill these with grease after you put them back together. These don't. I am going to drill and tap them for Zerk fittings before I put them back together. I have an assortment of Zerk fittings. But anyway, this parts washer is step one. Then the rust solve. I plan on showing how they look in between each step. Alright, this is post parts washer and chem tool drying off of the parts. now we're going to go into the, I said rust solve before, but it's actually Evaporust. And something I'm also going to dip in there is all the nuts and bolts and blade washers, and I don't know what to call the ones that are serrated. I know what those are for, because these are reverse rotation blades, but standard threaded bolts. So you need those to make sure the blades don't come loose. So previously, I had only used Evaporust for small chainsaw parts, and had also tested it on, you know, a few rusty tools, but all I needed was this Pyrex. I think that still has life in it, so I'm going to try and fit everything, including these deep cones, into this 5-gallon bucket, dump both this and what's left of the gallon in there, and based off a YouTube video I watched, this is water-based, so if it doesn't cover the top of the tallest items, then I should just be able to add water. And actually that gives me the ability to add hot water, and I have a utility sink in the far dark corner of the basement over there. So yeah, so anyway, this is the before Evaporust. The next step is the Ultrasonic cleaner is supposed to arrive tomorrow. Like I said, I first plan on doing a carburetor in a solution of its own in a Ziploc bag of Simple Green, but then once I pull that out of there, based off a review I saw that indicated Cascade did great, Cascade dishwasher tablets, 1 per gallon on steel, I'll pull that Ziploc bag out and drop, I guess, two or 3 tablets in there. I don't know. I'll make the decision on the fly. It's a 2.5 gallon. But anyway, here's the before. The before the Evaporust. Alright, so here's how it looks after I packed the bucket. I'm gonna first add the virgin Evaporust and then put the contaminated on top. I don't know, for some reason that makes sense to me. Sounds like based on what I saw on another video about how the chemistry happens in here, this should still have a lot of life in it. So and then if it doesn't cover the top of the parts, I'm gonna fill it in my utility sink, which I have trickling here with hot water, so I have hot water, you know, ready. I guess I'll show the soak once I fill it up. Okay, so that's where we are with pure Evaporust. It's this top flange here that is the highest point. I don't feel like digging in there and reshuffling around, although maybe that might buy me a little bit in terms of not having to dilute it. So actually, maybe I can take that back. I mean, that's lower than the top of that flange was. Okay. I mean, actually, the tried and true way is to give this thing a good shake. See where things settle out. Let me do that. Alright, after a shake and repositioning that flange, it looks like I only need 1 inch of hot water. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that. By the way, do you see how the color of that Evaporust is already changed. This stuff is working. I'm going to leave this overnight. And then tomorrow is Ultrasonic. So, I don't know. We'll see how these parts turn out. This is requiring 0 elbow grease, 0 wire brushing. This will be great if these turn out like new. So here's how the parts look after coming out of the Evaporust bath overnight. There's less rust on them, but something I'm thinking of trying is adding a step to this process just out of curiosity. I want to put the Evaporust in the ultrasonic cleaner when it arrives, hit these for, I don't know, 30 minutes under ultrasonic, see what, if any, difference there is after that, and then after that trying the Cascade dishwasher tabs. Something I'm not going to do is scrape off this leftover gasket maker, because I want to see if the ultrasonic can remove that for me. If it is still on there after the 1 or 2 ultrasonic steps, depending on what I decide to do, then I will sorry, I will probably just hit the parts with the belt sander to get that gasket material off. That may not work on these though, because these have these raised nubs. So, or I might just be able to work around those. But yeah, this is after just scrubbing thick grease off in the parts cleaner, and then an overnight soak in the Evaporust, and can't wait to see what the ultrasonic steps do. Okay, so the ultrasonic cleaner just arrived. I've decided I'm going to do Cascade pods first, and if it looks like there's still some rust, I'm going to try Rust Solve, but with ultrasonic and heat this time. Yeah, I don't mind dumping out the Cascade solution, because these are, you know, 50 cents each. But the Rust Solve, I'm definitely going to pour back in the bucket once I'm done, because that's 25 bucks a gallon. I'm going to go carry this over to my utility sink and fill it with the parts in there with just water, because I'm pretty sure if I filled it without the parts, there's enough volume of parts here it might overflow or something. Then I'm going to let it preheat. I'm going to take the parts out so they don't have time to soak or whatever, because I really want to see what this thing can do. And they might dry up a little from, you know, the initial filling. But then I'm going to take the parts out, let it preheat with the Tide Pods in there, and then when it's ready, oh, and I think I'm going to try 80 degrees C, because that's what seemed to do great with Tide Pods on, I think it was Death Row Racing's video, where he did a round 1 of a shootout of different solutions. And I'm probably going to maximize the time. I don't know. I'll play around with the time. I'm thinking 30 minutes, but maybe more. I don't know. And then we'll see how this does. So I'm going to go fill this up with just water, then take the parts out, then drop the Tide Pods in and heat it up. Alright, bye. Okay, just making another short video. This is purely just water. I'm about to take these parts out of there, but to fully submerge them, I had to pretty much be right at the max mark. Somehow, miraculously, I walked it the, I don't know, 25 feet over from the utility sink without spilling anything. This thing is heavy with the parts and 2.5 gallons or whatever it is of water in it. Also, this is a good judge of 2.5 gallons. It's just enough to let you do 3 spindles off a Simplicity mower deck. Alright, so now time to pull the parts out, drop in the Tide Pods. This might be pretty close to temperature because I used hot water and I have my hot water heater cranked up because I don't like to be left with cold shower water after being the last one to shower. So, I'll make a video when I start this thing up, I guess. Well, yeah. Okay, so parts are out on the floor. Now I'm going to, I have the instructions, but I'm not going to look at those. I'm going to assume I flip this switch on. Now I've got lights. Oops. Okay, set point, actual, pretty self-explanatory. And I saw, as I said, I think his name was Death Row Racing YouTube channel. He set his to 80. Looks like 80 is the max. Turn that on. Not gonna turn on the timer. Although, what did I say? I said 30 minutes before. 30 minutes is 30 times 60, so that's 1800 seconds. This might not be able to go up that. Oh, this does minutes and seconds. Okay. Oh, you know what? I think I watched some videos where guys were doing 480 minutes or something weird like that. Oh, okay, 30's the max. Okay. And I assume the time button is what turns on the sound. I'm not hearing anything, but I'll just let that sit there and wait for the sake of speeding up the heating process. Let me put the lid on. And, okay. There's nothing else to discuss here. Okay, so one update. Well, two things played into this. Number one, I got tired of waiting, and I got to go take the kids somewhere. But also, I Googled what is optimal ultrasonic temperature range, and something said 70 degrees C. So it had reached up to 74. I decided to stop it at 74. So we'll see what that does. So let's see. The trick here is to let this condensation make everything here wet. Okay. Well, while I put these parts in, I'm just going to rest my phone here. This is pretty hot, so I'm going to try not to touch the water. Okay. So it is in there, and now I am going to start the ultrasonic. You just press time. And there it goes. That's the gear splitting sound. And we'll see, because the solution's already dirty from me filling the ultrasonic washer with the parts in it. We can't really get any of those cool parts coming in. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. I will have it set to 30 minutes. It should stop sometime while we're at 20. Okay, so here's the final video on the results of the ultrasonic parts washing. I didn't take a video of an intermediate step I did. I first cleaned these in the ultrasonic cleaner with 3 Cascade, what are they called, pods, and that that removed some paint, which underneath had some rust. So I did a second step of Evaporust again, but this time in the ultrasonic cleaner, and that's what just finished. The only stuff I did that second Evaporust step on were the arbor shafts. Now those didn't really have any paint, but I just wanted to get them extra clean. But the spindle housings, both the tops and the bottoms, I show, you know, the top and bottom. I have some of these flipped over, and I don't know what to call these, the flanges for the blades. Everything here, all these small parts, those only got the Cascade wash, and then I actually sprayed them with WD-40 afterwards to prevent any sort of, you know, re-rusting. I plan on making a video on what it takes to rebuild these old Simplicity spindles as well. That will be separate, but I definitely had some lessons learned. Actually, this shows evidence of me trying to press the shaft out through the bottom, thinking that it was a straight shaft. I didn't realize this was a shoulder, and I actually pushed the bearing through the bottom. Luckily, this was the worst bearing of them all, which was missing balls. But you can see where 1 or 2 balls that were still in the bearing actually pressed through the flange. I believe it's still around. I plan on reusing this. I'm going to drill and tap these for Zerk fittings, though. The later ones had Zerk fittings. Oh, something else that I learned that is convenient is I found this basket for the 15-liter ultrasonic parts cleaner. Fits perfectly on a kitty litter, one of these rectangular cross-section kitty litter buckets. I've got a bazillion of these, and so that makes it so I can take the parts out, put them right down. I'm not dripping dirty solution all over the place trying to go to the utility sink or something. So I take them out, put them in there, and then walk them over to the utility sink. I might have already mentioned this, but what you see here, after I took it out, I did rinse it off, and I did then dry it with paper towels to try and prevent any rusting. You can see there's like remnants of gasket material on here. I'll clean that up before I put these back together. But anyway, that's that. I'm pretty happy. Something to note is that the combination of Cascade tablets and Evaporust does not remove well adhered to paint. That's that.